All right, welcome to the channel, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. And if you are new here, welcome. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Remember to subscribe, it's absolutely free. Welcome to the live commentary of the sixth edition of the Elite Chess Youth Rapid Chess Challenges. In my opinion, the best youth tournament online in all of South Africa. So welcome. We are going to be going through the games from both of the sections. There are two sections that are currently taking place. There is the open section for anyone born 2002 or later. And then we have the under 10 section, which is for players who are born 2012 and later. So already the games have started since 2:30. We can just jump into some of the games. This is at the moment the one game that is happening in the open section. It's the only game that is still happening since. Okay, there's still two games happening. So let's jump into it and see what we can learn from the games. Let's see. Let's take this one. VBKO versus South African Rhino. Let's try to find out what is going on. So it seems that both players are still in the opening, and there's still a lot of pieces on the board. But one of the main things is that the one player is in big time pressure. VBKO is only left with a minute and some seconds to play the rest of the game, which is of course very, very difficult because there's just not enough time. But yeah, this could really be decided by time, because with little time, one can start to get under pressure and feel nervous and end up making unnecessary mistakes. There's one more game which was happening in the open section between Vuma 123 and Eden 0. So their game is progressed out of the opening. Okay, Black still needs to finish development by bringing this bishop into the game, but White for sure is in the middle game. Normally we know it's a middle game when the rooks are connected. So they just exchange queens now. So we are going to have the classic queenless middle game, where there are no queens on both sides, but still plenty of pieces. So checkmate is still on the cards. This is something that a lot of chess players don't know, actually. They don't like to exchange their queen because they fear that if they exchange their queen, then they can't attack. But that's not actually right. You can still play for checkmate even without a queen on the board. Although, it must be admitted, the best attacking piece is the queen. If you want to attack, if you can keep your queen, then do it. But if it's not necessary, you can exchange a queen and still even attack without a queen. The time situation is a little bit better than the previous one. Both players do have times that are closer to each other, although Vuma 123 is up with more than a minute, as White is taking quite a long time to decide how he wants to take the queen on d2. So let's go on to the under 10 section and just look at what has happened. So the under 10s have already played their first game. Now they are playing their second game. So there are 3 games currently happening. Let's go through them. So this game is in the middle game. Both players have finished development. They've connected their rooks. And still plenty of pieces on the board. But yeah, this one is still in its early days. Nothing really to comment too much into this one. Let's see the other game between Aneka Dupe and Kaylee 14. Well, we can see that the one player is down with the queen, and the king is also unsafe in the center of the board. So yeah, this is looking difficult. And Kaylee looks to be favorite in this game. So let's look at the other game between Jenya 9 and Alet Dupe. So this one, both players are still in the opening. They have not finished development. They haven't castled yet. but someone is already up with a piece. Black is up with an extra minor piece, but for sure still in the early days, anything can still happen here. I'm just going to quickly go on a break to fix something with the sound. I'll be back shortly. I'll leave one of the games happening as a way for you to follow. All right, welcome back, everyone. Now, I think the sound should be fine. So let's see the rest of this game. Only a minute on the clock for both players. Still, Eden 0 now has a little bit of time. So it's an end game where White is up with an extra pawn. So White is trying to push to win. And White has some winning ideas in this position. This position is winning for White, and White finds the right idea, which is to create a passed pawn. The number one thing that you try to do in an endgame is you want to create a passed pawn. A passed pawn is a pawn that doesn't have any of the opponent's pawns in front of it or to the right of it. It is free, or to the right, to the left. It's free to run and make a queen or promote, because the pawn, when it gets to the end of the board, can change into one of four pieces, either a queen, rook, bishop, or knight. So this is the main plan when you play an endgame. And White has managed to find the right plan, and Black is going to be in big trouble very soon. This is almost a resignable position, but Black will try to fight. Black wants to find counterplay with the move. Yeah, there's just no defense. White finds everything right. There's a check. The king must go somewhere else, and there's only one square. White is making a queen. Oh, he actually missed it. He could have made a queen immediately with check. Yeah, okay. With time pressure, the decisions can be explained. White missed a few times an opportunity to just queen right away, but now it's winning. He has an extra queen, and he's going to be grabbing the bishop. He makes another queen. Black is not in good shape here. The only thing that Black can hope for is that White is going to stalemate him somehow, which means the king is standing on a safe square, but he cannot move anywhere because all the squares that he can move to are attacked. But there will be no need to worry about that. White has checkmated the Black king. So the open section have played their first round. So in the lead, we have South African Rhino, GN Brave, and Seaside Sunset, Eden 0, and Chris C on full score, and Old Crash Road is on half a point. And from number 7 to number 10, these players are still yet to score a point. Okay. Hi, Chris. Well, thanks for joining. This is your first online tournament. Excellent. We are glad to hear that. I hope that the tournament will be good and fun for you. Hello and welcome to you, Samuel Driscoll. So this is the chat on Lichess that I'm commenting. If you are watching on YouTube, please speak in the chat. We can communicate there on the YouTube chat. And by the way, please take time to share the video with people who are interested, and also like the video to help with the algorithm, so that many people who are interested in chess can see this video. And also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's very much needed. We are trying to get to over 100 subscribers, so if you can, please do that. That would be amazing. Thank you. All right, so let's see the under 10. They are now, this is the last game of the round 2. Porcupine 2013 versus PSN IVS. Both players with still quite a lot of time, and although we can see the material, there is a difference. There is material difference here. Black has a rook and White has a knight. But White can argue that I have a very dangerous passed pawn. Once again, this is an endgame, and in an endgame, your number one job is to try to create a passed pawn, because if it goes to the end of the board, you are going to be able to bring back material that you have lost earlier on. So here, if d8 is played, White will be able to get a queen. But right now, Porcupine is PSN is the one who's defending with queen. The queen is defending the d7 pawn from getting to d8, and the rook is also guarding the d8 square. So if at any moment the pawn is pushed forward, black can just take it. So right now it's black's turn to play, but black is struggling to find a move. He finally does make a move. Now there's a very strong idea that white has of putting his knight on d6, threatening d8. And it's not quite clear how black can stop this. And this is one of the plans that white can follow. Do you see any other way for white to try to win in this position? He does find knight d6, Porcupine 2013, very powerful move with a very serious threat. d8 is a serious threat which just wins the rook, and that would mean that white is going to have a knight for a pawn, which in terms of points, white would be ahead, and as well, white has a massive advantage on the clock, 7 minutes and 13 seconds on the clock, whilst black only has 2 minutes and some 20-something seconds on the clock. So yeah, it's definitely looking difficult for PSN. So he goes and takes a pawn. He realizes he can't stop d8 from happening, so he also creates a pass pawn of his own. So PSN has sacrificed his rook for that pawn. That's why the pass pawn is very dangerous. The famous chess player of the past, Aaron Nimzovich, said that a passed pawn is like a criminal. Surveillance is not enough. One has to put it under lock and key, because if you are not careful, it can for sure cause you damage. As we see in this game, white was able to win the black rook with that passed pawn. Now white has a knight, but black has 2 pawns for the knight. And black has also a potential queen on a4. Now, this is something that a lot of chess beginners in particularly don't understand. They don't really value pawns. When they learn the value system, they realize that, well, the pawn is only 1 point, so it's not worth much. But this is the right way to think of your pawns. Always think of a pawn as a future queen, because it can become a queen or rook, bishop or knight. And that, especially in the third part of the game of chess, which is called the end game, can play a very, very big role. So yeah, it's looking tricky for PSN. The king also is quite vulnerable, but if he is able to get his queen out of the way and push his pass pawn, he could as well still try to keep fighting. One limitation of the knight is that it is a slow piece. The knight, unlike the counterpart, the bishop, which is the same points as the knight, 3 points for the knight, 3 points for the bishop, but the biggest difference between the two minor pieces is that the knight is very slow. It takes a long time to go from one side of the board to the other. If it wants to stop this pawn, it has to control a1. So let's try to find how it could get there. If it goes there, it goes there, and then it goes there. No, it has to go to c4. No, c2. Yeah, takes quite a long time. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very slow. It should be 5. I think 5 is the distance it should take. So there could be another way that is quicker. If it can get to d4, it needs to be okay. So it can go here, 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 which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, well, it turns out it is 6. So very, very slow. So here, if it wasn't that PSN is in big time trouble, as well as his king is very exposed, which is one of the main things in chess. If you don't keep your king safe, even if you have a big advantage in material or points, it doesn't count for much, because ultimately the person who has a threat of checkmate, which is the goal of the game of chess. The goal of the game of chess is to put your opponent's king in a checkmate. So if you get checkmated, it doesn't count. Welcome to people who are still joining the live stream. This is again the live commentary of the 6th edition of the Elite Chess Youth Rapid Challengers. We are currently following the last game of round 2 in the under 10 section, and it's looking very difficult for PSN, who's playing with the black pieces. And Porcupine 2013 looks like he's closing in on a victory, because that black king is very, very badly placed. Let us see if there is a way for PSN to survive here. Because now there is a very big threat in the position. If PSN misses it, queen g4 is checkmate, or pawn to g4 is checkmate. And unfortunately for PSN, he missed it, but it's understandable. With 23 seconds, it's not easy to find every right move. All right, so the under 10s will wait for 2 minutes until their second game or their third game. They have already played now. They've already played 2 games. So let's go to the open section, who are currently playing their second round. So GN Brave has already won his second game. He's one of the tournament favorites because on rating, he's the second highest rated player. Let's see how he did in the game. So he played against Chris, who was playing his first online chess tournament. Shout out to Chris for taking the decision to play in the tournament. It can, of course, be difficult playing your first online tournament if you are not the experience, of course, matters. But it's good. It's good to start somewhere. Well, and he wasn't playing bad, to be fair. It even looked like he had an advantage, because here he actually has a pawn up, from what I can see. He even won a piece. No, I'm looking from the wrong perspective. GN Brave is playing with the black pieces. Chris was playing with white. So Chris was down a pawn, and then he managed to lose a piece from move 20 onwards. But like I had mentioned, the player he's playing is the second highest rated player in the tournament, and the fact that he could get him into this position is a very good sign. So clearly, he was playing reasonably well, although maybe playing too fast, hence maybe the mistakes came in. It's always important to manage your time well. The goal is not to play too fast or to play too slow, but to play with good usage of your time. When you need to think, you should think, but when you know the move and you check that it's not a mistake, you can play it faster, but you don't want to play too fast or to play too slow. Let's see the other games that are happening. We have here South African Rhino versus Eden Zero. The game is, or at least white is still in the opening, because white hasn't yet castled their king, and it doesn't really look like white is planning to castle, because white has pushed the 2 pawns that would be protecting his king if it should castle to the king side. So that's probably not a good idea, because if you push the pawns in front of your own king, it will lack safety. So maybe for this tournament, the theme is going to be a lot on king safety. It cannot be said enough. If your king is not safe, your whole game is not going to be, it won't go well, because you always have to constantly worry about, is my king safe? And that is not a good, that's not a good place to be in. It's very difficult. All right, so I'll leave this game playing. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back as soon as possible. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I typed there in YouTube, just giving a shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank you. We're almost there at 100 subs. So thank you so much. Keep subscribing, and of course, share and like the video. It helps a lot. So let's continue with this game that we were following before I took a break. It seems very dangerous, of course, because of the king. The black king is very weak. It is stuck in the corner of the chessboard, and white has a plan to bring their rook there and just deliver checkmate. So it appears that South African Rhino, though he came up with a very dangerous strategy of keeping his king stuck in the center of the board, black did not defend correctly, and now black has actually gotten himself in hot water. White is threatening to give checkmate on g7, and the only way not to do that is to play bishop. The only way to stop that is to play bishop to f6, which would stop the queen going to g7. But then white can collect the piece on d3. Although it has to be said, if white cannot find a checkmate, black is actually winning here. Black is up with an extra piece. So white has sacrificed a piece to open up the king, but because of white's lack of development, and now just white makes a big mistake after the queens are traded. Actually white is an exchange. I didn't notice. Apologies for that. So white can exchange rightly. White has a bishop for a rook. White has a rook, and black has a bishop. So we call that being up with an exchange, although black doesn't have a couple of pawns on that place, and he has a nice trap that he's setting up, which is rook f8. So if white would just go and grab the pawn on c5 thinking he's winning material, think twice. This is a good rule of thumb. Before you make your move, you must always check, is my move a blunder? It's very, very important, because if you don't check, you are definitely going to get yourself in trouble. So white pays attention and stops that threat, and now he can take that pawn for free. So black's plan failed because white was able to get into his opponent's head and find the right idea. Black still goes for rook f8, but now the sting is taken out, especially if the bishop is not here. Because if the bishop I would need to analyze maybe. Now it's just lost. White is winning the game. Let's move on to the next one and see what the other games are going on. So we were watching this game. Let's follow Seaside Sunset versus Old Crush Road. Seaside Sunset has a lot of time and Old Crush Road has very little time. So yeah, it's definitely tricky. The material is still very even, but white has a scary center. White has two pawns that are in the center of the chessboard, and they are controlling a lot of squares in the black's territory. And black has a knight which is hanging on h5. Although it must be said, he has won the white queen. Black has just won the white queen, ladies and gentlemen. Get excited. Where can the white queen go? Can you find a square where the white queen can go? Sure. It can go here. And now the queen is not won. I was getting excited for no reason. Apologies. Sometimes you must ask yourself questions to find the right move. It opens up your mind. Because when I was only looking at the first thing that came to mind, the queen can't go there because of a fork on g3, and the queen can't stay on the f file because the queen will be taken by the rook. So the only safe square that Seaside Sunset must find is queen d3. Queen to d3 to make sure that he doesn't lose his queen. And then that knight is really going to be trapped. There is a famous saying that goes like, the knight on the edge of the board is dim. This means the knight doesn't have a lot of joy when it is on the edge of the board, because its scope is limited. As I was saying in the other game in the under 10 section about the knight being a slow piece, the knight, when it goes away from the center, becomes less valuable. What? Seaside Sunset decided to sacrifice his queen. I think he just forgot that he could play his queen to d3. He didn't see it. So just like me, he believed he had lost his queen, but he completely missed a very simple move, queen d3, unless I missed something after queen d3. Let's just go back to check. What would have happened if he had played queen d3? Well, the knight could have gone to f4, but it wasn't losing the game by any chance. Yeah. So queen d3, knight f4, bishop takes, rook takes. Yeah, very strange decision from Seaside Sunset. Now black is in the ascendancy. Black has a huge advantage, but white does have a lot of compensation. White has two connected passed pawns. It seems also another theme of our tournament this time is passed pawns. Passed pawns are very, very dangerous. And here white has two of them, which are called connected passed pawns. So these ones are even worse than just a single passed pawn, because connected means they can defend each other, and when two connected passed pawns can defend each other, stopping them is very difficult. In fact, the great chess champion Garry Kasparov, the 13th world chess champion, said that if you can put two passed pawns on the 6th rank, they are stronger than a rook. So we can even count these two pawns as a rook. So here we could say, and there was also a blunder of a queen. But Old Crush Road didn't give himself a chance with that little time that he had. Now the game is, it won't end very well. Okay, so there is one game. Oh, that was the last game that was happening. Although they are still playing on, because of his huge time advantage and those connected passed pawns, Seaside Sunset should win the game comfortably. Let us follow what is going on with the under 10s. Just to refresh this page to be up to date. So the under 10s are playing their round 3. Let us follow some of the games. So Porcupine and Kaylee, the two leaders of the tournament, are playing each other. So what is going on in this game? We see that Porcupine has a rook for a bishop. So in terms of material, black is ahead. And black also has an advantage that his two rooks are on open file. And there is a principle in chess that says that rooks belong on open files. So This means that the rooks are able to go from one side of the board to the other and enter into the enemy's territory, like what Porcupine just did, bring the rook in to attack these weak pawns. So this looks like Porcupine should have an advantage to win the game, but of course everything can happen in a game of chess. People make mistakes. So let's see the other games in the under 10 section. What is going on? So in this game, we have Genya 9 versus Vimy 2014. In terms of material, Vimy is down with quite a lot of material, and he will be losing a queen next because his queen is attacked. If his opponent can remember that the queen is attacked. So it looks black is winning, and black also has an attack going against the white king. So this game should end as a win for black. Let's go to the other game that is happening in the under 10 section. Okay, so black is definitely ahead in terms of material. Black is up with a rook and seems to also be, yeah, well, the knight is not trapped just yet. Okay, very strange decision from PSN to decide to leave the knight unprotected. If black just takes this pawn with a check, this forces the, well, it's still winning. Everything is winning now. There is too much material. So this also looks, it should end as a win for Aneka Dupe because of the extra material and the pawns. We have yet again pass pawns. These are doubled pass pawns, but the king just goes in the corner and stops all of that, and these two pieces should make the victory easy for white. So okay, it seems the results are quite clear in most of the games, but everything can happen. We wouldn't be surprised if someone can stalemate someone. So let's go back to the, okay, this is the main event for the open section. The two highest rated players in the tournament are playing against each other. GN Brave and Seaside Sunset. As you can see here below, these are two players with history on Lichess. They have played so many games, and at the moment GN Brave is coming ahead with 53 wins and a draw, or not 53 wins, but altogether the points, 53 points and a half to 41 points and a half. But these are the two highest rated players in the tournament, so they are the favorites to win the event on their rating at least. But of course, rating cannot play chess for you. So it is interesting. So we'll keep a very close eye. Maybe we'll focus only on this game until it finishes. But let's just quickly look at what the other games, what's happening in the other games. So the other game is South African Rhino versus Lubanzi 1-2-3. Still in the opening. Both players have not yet castled. They are still bringing their pieces into the game and trying to fight for their control of the center. South African Rhino, up with a lot of time, seems to be playing very quickly. But at least it seems that at the moment nothing serious is happening. The material is even. In fact, it's not. South African Rhino has an extra pawn. So, and he wins the second one because of tactics. His opponent missed that the pawn on h3 is pinned. So South African Rhino with a huge advantage right from the beginning. So he is the favorite to go and win on that game. Let's see what is going on with Chris C2011 versus Eden 0. So yeah, still in the opening, it appears. The material, at least the pieces, are the same, but yeah, they're very big decisions from Chris to take with his rook, and now his opponent has more material. His opponent has an extra rook and a few more pawns. So Eden 0, the favorite in this game. So let us see the other game that we have not checked out. VBKO versus Old Crush Rod. Old Crush Rod definitely playing faster this time. That's a good sign. He has been getting in time trouble in a few of the games, but at least this time he's managing his time quite well. Still in the opening, material looks even, so this looks like it will be a long game where the result is open. Anyone can win this one, or it could end as a draw also. Let's see Samuel versus Vuma 1, 2, 3. So okay, so Samuel appears to be down with a piece, but he does get a pawn back, which should be at least helping him to find some counterplay. But yeah, it will be difficult for sure, but he does have a strong bishop. If he puts his bishop in the center and there he makes an attack against the queen must go somewhere, but our opponent finds an intermediate move. He gives a check. So Samuel is down with a piece with the pawns very weak. Double pawns and an isolated pawn. It's going to be tricky, but at least he's doing the only thing he can, which is to try to find some attack against the king. Although I must say Samuel is playing very fast, which maybe is not helping in terms of the mistakes. If you play too fast, you miss moves. So I think we have had a rundown in all the games. Let's go back to the main event. As I said, the two highest rated players in the tournament. It seems it's a heavyweight. There are many things happening here. Both players have played very aggressive chess and are going out for broke. Basically, no one is looking to make a draw here. They are just trying to win. So it looks that it's going to be decided, maybe even quickly. Only 13 moves played, but the king on e2 is already very weak. The king must go even further into the game on e3. Yeah, it's not looking very good for white. It's not looking good for white. Very interesting game. Comment what you think about the game. Who do you think is going to win here between GN Brave and Seaside Sunset? What do you think is happening in this position? Yeah, please comment in the chat. I'll be checking some of your comments on YouTube to see what you have to say. Okay, I'm going to just quickly change something this side. I'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back. It seems that the two players are not messing around. White tried to offer a draw, but the draw, of course, was declined with that king looking very weak. It's not possible that black is going to be accepting a draw, and it seems that the black king is just going to be ran over. Very risky play from GN Brave to try to attack without your king. As I was saying it, that the king must always be safe. If your king is not safe, the whole game is bust. And now it's just resigns. Very soon there is a checkmate that will be given. He could not take the knight because he could have just been checkmated in one move. And there will be a forced checkmate on G3. It's game over. Seaside Sunset with a massive victory, which gives him, at least he's going to be in first place for now, because South African Rhino, who looked to be winning his game earlier on, let's check what is happening now. It appears he still remains with clear winning chances. He has way more pawns than his opponent. So South African Rhino should be joining Seaside Sunset on 3 points. GN Brave with difficult game, but yeah, let's even look at the game and see what was going on, because it seemed very aggressive. I need to just see quickly what was even happening. So the game began e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, c3. So the so-called Ponziani opening. It's a very rare opening. You don't really see it played a lot. But probably in an attempt to surprise his opponent. So black responds with the most active move, which is d5, takes, queen takes, and d4, bishop to g4, bishop e2, e takes d4, knight takes d4, and queen captures on g2. So knight takes d4 is clearly a mistake, because this is just losing a pawn, and that was the reason why the king now could not go to safety where it could be castled. Here he just has to accept the isolated queen's pawn by playing pawn takes d4 and castle on the next move. So this was the main key moment, and after this it's just very bad from here on in. The king is very, very weak. And there were so many problems. Yeah. Afterwards, we all saw these things now, and it didn't go very well from this point. Okay, but that is chess, you know. As Bobby Fischer said, one day you teach your opponent a lesson, the next day he teaches you a lesson. It's most important that we at least try to take those lessons to heart to improve for the next time, because the only thing you can focus on at least is to improve for the next time. You cannot change what has happened already. So now let us see. Old Crush Road VBKO, still very stable. Okay, not stable. I see there's a big material difference. One player has a queen, another player has a rook. So already this is not looking very good. Black should be winning the game because of the extra material. Okay, so let's go to the under 10s and see what is going on. The under 10s are already in their 4th round. So Porcupine is now the sole leader of the tournament with 3 points. With 3 points, and Kaylee is coming in on 2nd place. Okay, let's see some of the games that are happening. So Porcupine versus Aneka Dupe. Porcupine is clearly winning with so many pieces, and his opponent, he doesn't have that many pieces. So this position is clearly winning with so many material. Of course, anything can still happen. One could just get stalemated. That's the one thing that can maybe throw things off course, but it seems there's a checkmate now, which will be happening very soon on b6. So the game will be finished after queen b6 check, mate. So surprising he doesn't play it. Okay, he finds this check. He probably missed queen b6, but it's fine. At this point, he has many pieces, so he can take time. So there's only one more game which is happening, which is Kaylee versus Genya 9. Let's try to find out what is going on here. So in terms of material, it appears that white has 2 pieces for a rook, and then they both have a bishop. But in terms of the pawns, white has an extra pawn. So white is slightly ahead in terms of material, but white does have a very awkward king, which is stuck in the center of the board. And usually, your king safety is the most important thing in chess. If your king is not safe, every position should always be thought in that sense. There are 3 important things to consider in every position in chess. What is the safety of the king? Number 2, how many pieces do I have involved in the game? And of course, number 3, the material. Who has more pieces? And if you look at these 3 things, you can usually have a good sense of what is going on in a position. And because of the king's weakness, white definitely, although with more points, has to be concerned, because yeah, it's not looking very good. Let's see what Genya comes up with, because she does have a serious threat. If she can find this move, rook f1, she simply threatens to take the bishop for free. But if this bishop would move away, she wins the game in 2 moves with queen g6 check, because the bishop here is pinning the pawn on f7. And this we call in chess an absolute pin. When a pawn is pinned in front of its king, it cannot move out of that line, because it would leave its king. Because in chess, you are never allowed at any one point to put or to leave your king in check. It's not allowed. So yeah, this is definitely tricky, without a question. Okay, she doesn't see it. She plays queen to f4 instead, maybe with an idea to win a piece. She wants to play bishop to g5, attacking the queen on e7 and trying to make another tactic, which is called a skewer. Let's see if she can find it. But yeah, let's actually spend time watching this game, since it's the last game in the under 10 section. But in the meantime, whilst the players are still thinking of their next moves, let's try to see what plans white has here. The one g5 is okay, g4 I mean, but it wasn't the best move. Bishop g5 was winning. It was winning material, because now after although g4 is still good, because the bishops really cannot take on e4, because the queen and the knight and the king defend e4 3 times. e4 is attacked 3 times, it's defended 3 times. So Kaylee gives a check to the white king. The king can either go to f3 or e2, so f3 instead. And now Kaylee must play bishop e6, otherwise she'll be checkmated if she doesn't find bishop e6. She'll be checkmated in 2 moves. If she moves the bishop away anywhere else, she's going to be checkmated with queen f7 and queen g7, checkmate. The game will be over. So this is a key, critical moment in the game. Let us see if Kaylee has the sense of danger. For sure, both kings in this game were very, very unsafe. So let's give her time to find out if she's going to see this danger that is. There we go. She did find it. Very good. Bishop e6 is absolutely important. If she doesn't find bishop e6, she's going to lose the game. So queen f8, queen f6 with a serious threat of queen g7 checkmate in one move. Let us see if Kaylee is on the back foot at the moment. She really has to defend with her back against the wall. Okay, she finds a very inspired move, bishop g4 check. Let's see what is the idea. Ah, very nice. Okay, very, very nice. She has queen to h5 check, which attacks the king and wins the bishop. That's an interesting idea. Well done, Kaylee, for finding that. It's always interesting. Oh, okay. She finds queen e5 instead, but she had a very good move with queen h5 check, which would have been making a double attack. So in the end, maybe she just remembered the checkmate, which is usually when you have to defend. Instead of defending passively, meaning you just try to stop your opponent's ideas, it's always important to find the most active way to defend. How can you attack your opponent instead of defending only by stopping their threat? Because now, of course, now it's definitely difficult because she has lost a piece and the king is very, very exposed. But how does white win? What is the winning plan for white? White needs to get this bishop here somehow. And maybe white can just do that. White can just play. Genya just needs to play bishop g5, bishop f6, and it's winning everything. Yeah, so this is really the main worry now. The king is very weak, and also there's no way for Kaylee to find counterplay. Even though the white king looks to be in a very dangerous position, standing all the way here on g4, it's not really easy to prove how the king can be checkmated when it is standing here. She doesn't really have any good checks. Okay, so Genya plays rook d8, trying to lure the other rook from coming down, and then grab the e8 rook. By the way, I see more people are still joining the live stream. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Thank you for joining. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video and share it with your people. Thank you so much. Okay, she doesn't find rook. She can't take on e8, of course. The queen is there. Apologies. But now the king can be attacked, because now Kaylee can play queen to e4. So Genya's plan of rook d1 wasn't very accurate somehow, and she might actually get checkmated, honestly, because now she just made what looks a very bad move. After rook e5, it's lost actually. Oh, what a turn of events. Kaylee, in a completely lost position, suddenly is winning the game. But this is generally what happens at junior level. The games are very unpredictable, which is why we should always teach the junior players how to win when they have big material. Kaylee must find queen f5, which is checkmate, and she wins the game. From basically the jaws of defeat, she just escaped, and now she's the one who is winning the game. But let us see. Okay, the move she found is still not a bad move, but that's not the best move, because now the opponent can still say, I have enough pieces to... Yeah. She just saw the queen and she took it, and the king is in a discovered check. What is funny is that it can... In fact, in terms of material, white is actually leading here, because 3 pieces are a queen and white is an extra pawn. So technically white would be even here the one trying to win, but of course there is a way for material to be lost with queen f3 check winning a knight, but Kaylee did not see queen f3, instead played her king to to 8-7. Again, I see more people keep joining the live stream. Thank you so much for those that are sharing. It's much appreciated, and welcome to all of you who are joining the live stream. Again, I'll keep saying it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like the video and share it with your people. Thank you so much. We've been following this game in the under 10 section for the last little while between Kaylee and Genya, and it seems very, very double-edged. It's been, the pendulum has been swinging up and down, and it's very, okay, Kaylee does eventually find the right way. She makes a fork, and now she wins a knight. But of course, it's still very tricky. Even though she is winning, she missed a checkmate earlier on. And now Genya makes a very sneaky move, makes a silent move, just attacking the queen. But Kaylee is able to see that one, and now Kaylee is clearly winning. Kaylee will win this bishop next, and now she has regained more than enough material, and she's going to be winning the game. So I think we can leave this game now and go to the open section, because I think the open section players are going to be playing their round 4. So in the under 10 section, they are still playing round 4, and their round 5 will be starting after the game with Kaylee and Genya finishes. So let's go to the open section and see what is going on. So the open section are still waiting for their 4th game to start. They are waiting a minute away. So whilst they are still waiting, we cannot comment really on the game. So we can comment maybe on the standings. So at the moment, South African Rhino is in the lead, although he has the same points as Seaside Sunset. This will be the big match now. This will be the big one, because these players are both on the same score. So whoever wins here will be the only one on full score. Or will it end as a draw? Will both players not want to risk anything, since there's only 2 rounds to go? There is, of course, in this edition of the Elite Chess Challenges, the open section players are winning money, actually. So some nice prices for an online tournament for plus minus 2 hours, 250 rands and 150 for second place and 100 rand for third place. So what are the players going to do? Will the prize money be working on their mindset? What would you do if you were one of the leaders? Would you want to agree to a draw quickly, just offer your opponent a draw, or are you going to try to play and try to win the game and not care what the result is? This is always an interesting thing in the psychology, because chess, especially when the players become much, of course, even when they are younger, at all levels of chess, psychology plays a very big role in chess. So anything that can distract the player's attention can, definitely play a role. But let us see how both players handle it. Let's go straight into the main game, and let's follow it closely, at least for the first 15 moves, to see what is the mindset of both players. Oh, okay, I was thinking now, where is South African Rhino? So we see d4, knight f6, g6, knight c3, d5. The very famous Grunfeld defense, very aggressive weapon for black to defend against d4. So black is not playing to draw whatsoever. Black is actually trying to play for a win with this system, very popularized at the highest level of chess by the French Grandmaster Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and also the doctor of this opening, Grandmaster Svidler. Peter Svidler did a course many years ago on the Grunfeld for Chess24, and he remains one of the most educated people in this opening at the highest level. So black seems to have just lost a pawn in this line. Whether it is a gambit or not is another thing, although it is a very common thing in the Grunfeld defense for black to sacrifice a pawn to get fast development. So black will try to give up a pawn and try to have fast development, but especially black is going to voluntarily surrender the center of the chessboard and try to start attacking it. So here I'm assuming the move must be pawn to c6 or something. And then black is going to gambit this pawn and then try to hit this d4 pawn for the rest of the game. But the fact that Seaside Sunset is using more than a minute to think here, I think he might have been tricked, and either he forgot his lines and mix something up, but yeah, he has to find c6. It's the only move he can try if he doesn't know this opening that he's gotten himself into. Now what South African Rhino of course takes, and here we see already the double edge side of this opening. It looks very, this is an exciting game. So the two players have played already before. They have played 3 games. South African Rhino comes with 2 wins, where Seaside Sunset has won only once before. So does this usually play a role? Do you remember your opponent when you played them before? Does this influence you in the next game? Please type in the chat or in the comment section what you think. Is this an important thing to remember how you played last time against the opponent? But what we do know, which is the current situation, is that without a question, the player who wins here has a very big chance of potentially finishing first place, because having 4 out of 4 would be almost, it definitely guarantees them one of the prizes in the top 3, because very few people will be able, especially since the small section, only 10 players are playing. So if you're on full score already, the chances are you are basically in top 3. Okay, so Seaside Sunset is thinking. The opponent is given a check. He wants to think, how should he deal with that check? He finds bishop c6 to attack the white queen and cause it to move again for the second time. There is a saying in the opening normally that avoid moving the same piece twice, and also try not to bring out your queen out too early. So the queen usually lacks a safe square in the opening. It's still not really sure where is a good square where it will have a lot of scope, where it can attack and defend, and where is a safe square where it won't be attacked and harassed by the opponent's pieces. So on c2 it looks to be good and safe, but as soon as maybe knight d7 is played, rook c8, the queen will again need to be looking for shelter. So you must always be careful when you bring out your queen. But clearly from this kind of position, I think black has achieved what he normally likes. Black has sacrificed a pawn, but black has a lot of active pieces, and white has yet to decide where he's going to castle. He can castle on both sides. He can either play castle on the queen side or castle on the king side. The safest usually is the king side, and even in this position, it will be safer to castle on the king side, which it looks he's going to do. But black is playing so actively, he doesn't even give him time to do that. He plays rook b8, threatening to take on b2, which would be winning the b2 pawn. So, some problems for white to deal with. A very interesting game. And for sure, the two players are not playing to draw, they are trying to win, which is usually what we want, especially for such a prestigious tournament. As I have said, the best youth online tournament in the whole country, if not in the whole world, really. But of course, I'm biased because I'm from Elite Chess, but this is, of course, on the lighter side. I'm just joking, but we do enjoy good competitive chess from young chess players. And also part of these live commentaries, if the young players do follow up, I do try to say things here about their game that they can for sure learn from if they listen to the advice at all. Okay, now this is already a very big problem. b3 is a huge mistake because now the knight is pinned, and this is not good. After rook c1, which is a forced move, rook c8 is coming. This is a very big. This is a very bad position for white. He has to play knight d4 maybe now. I think that's what he's thinking. He wants to play knight d4 threatening the bishop on c6. I'll show it with arrows. He's probably thinking knight d4, attacking c6, right? So that if his opponent, okay, rook c1 is not the way, because now after rook c8, very good move by c-side Sunset. This move wins right away. He had to find knight to d4. It was the only way to block the bishop from attacking. Now it's just lost, because if he takes whatever he takes with rook c8, in fact, I didn't even see bishop f3. I was thinking the bishop could go backwards, but it would have been a slower move. Now this is just resigns. He has lost a piece in the opening. Yeah, okay, so it seems here that c-side Sunset is definitely the favorite, but the game will still carry on for sure. As the famous saying goes, like 40 good moves are not enough to win the game. One bad move loses the game. So in chess, there is no guarantee. You still need to play well. Even, in fact, this is what I've learned recently. When you are in a winning position, you need to concentrate even more than when you are winning, because the chances that you might slip up are very high. So let's look at the other games that are going on. So the other game is GN Brave versus VBKO. It appears that GN Brave is down with a pawn. He has a knight and versus a bishop in this middle game. Yeah, but for sure this is not an easy game. White is definitely a favorite in this game, but of course the game is still going to be played for a long while. Oh wow, South African Rhino is showing us some tricks that I was not anticipating. Bishop c4, blocking the diagonal. Okay, bishop c4, this was blocking the diagonal from this deadly threat. Now knight e4 played with a threat to win a pawn. King e2 unpinning the knight and defending the pawn. Now knight captures on c4 and then boom, knight d3, but come on. That could not be correct, yeah? I was thinking there was no way he is escaping. It looked fancy, but yeah, he's just losing now. There will be even more material being lost. In fact, the king is now not able to castle. The queen sacrifice doesn't work because the rook in the corner is protected by the bishop. Yeah, he tried at least, which is good, but good nerves from c-side Sunset not to panic when the opponent plays an unsuspected move. Let's see the other game. So here the other game is Lubanzi 123 versus Eden 0. It's clearly lost for white. Black is up with 3 pawns. Unless black stalemates white, black is winning. And then the other game is Chris C 2011 versus Vuma 123. So Chris has a rook for 2 knights and an extra pawn. But here Chris is the favorite. Oh no, yeah, he should not have played rook d6. He should have moved his rook away to a8, because now he's definitely losing the game. Yeah, but it is difficult. Yeah, chess is not easy. It's easy for me to sit here and comment, but I know when I play, these decisions are not easy to take. There's a lot of pressure when you're playing. Playing chess and commenting are not the same, that's for sure. I speak from experience, so we can understand when the players make mistakes. Even though the move looks bad, it's normal. In a real game situation, sometimes there's too many things that influence a game. So yeah, in this game, we have Samuel versus Old Crush Rod. Samuel playing with the white pieces, Old Crush Rod with the black pieces. What is going on? So let's look at the material. The material is the same. And And pawns, there is 6 pawns for Samuel and 6 pawns for Old Crush Road. Everything is the same, but Samuel does have very active piece on e5, that bishop on e5, and also the knight on c5. The time situation is not too bad. Both players are using their time quite well, which I'm very happy, especially for Old Crush Road. He's managing his time much better because he has been getting in too much time trouble in the last few games. So this is definitely a sign of improvement. So well done to him. Yeah, okay. So this game for sure still has life. Good idea, good plan from Samuel. He plays a rook lift. His rook didn't really have any options on this file. So normally if your rook is blocked in by pawns on a file, you can rook lift it to somewhere where it can have some activity. So good idea by Samuel. He plans to play rook g3 and put pressure on this g7 pawn. Yeah, for sure he seems to be slightly favorable because of his piece activity. For very interesting game. Let us see. I think I've looked at all the games that are happening right now. Let's go back to the main event, since this game will decide the winner. Okay, not the winner of the tournament, but at least the person who has a very high chance to win the tournament. Because even though whoever wins here will have 4 points, but they can of course still lose in the last round and finish with 4 points. So the winner hasn't been decided yet. So here we can see that black is up with a queen for a rook, and white has a rook and a pawn for a queen. But this is clearly not enough. Seaside Sunset should show technique and be able to win this game. But of course, the game still needs to be played. So I think it is well with this one. It has been a very tough tournament for sure. Some players are still yet to win their first game. In fact, Old Crush Road and Samuel are still to win, as well as Chris. And yeah, so the last 3 players, hopefully they'll be able to try and win one game. It's not always, it's a tough tournament since it's only 10 people. So there is a lot of people who are playing against the same people basically. But yeah, let's see how it goes. But for sure, good experience. The under 10s are now in their last round. So let's quickly take a look, see. The player who seems to be running away with the tournament is Porcupine 2013, sitting on full score, 4 points for him. And as we can, let's just observe quickly. Alet, who is playing with the white pieces against Porcupine, seems to be the only one who will stop Porcupine from winning the tournament on full score. Because Alet has a queen. She has a queen for a rook, it appears. And she has an extra knight. So it must be that unless Alet also blunders everything away, Porcupine 2013 won't win the tournament on full score. Is there anyone else who can catch him on 4 points? Yes, so Kaylee is the only one who can catch him. So essentially, Porcupine, we must say well done for his amazing performance. He basically tied for first before the tournament even finished. Yeah, having 5 out of 5 would have been the dream, but I think usually, I speak of course for me personally, when someone has a full score, I don't really like someone to win full score when I'm playing, so I usually try as much as possible stop that from happening. So maybe Alet is similar with me in that sense. She probably won't want Porcupine to finish on full score. So, and she has a big advantage with all the material she has, but she still needs to win the game. It is tricky for sure, especially that Porcupine has way too many pawns. He has so many pawns on the king side that are potentially paused pawns. But everything can still happen. But well done to Porcupine for coming first. So let's see Kaylee, who's able to tie for first place if she can win her game. So in this game, we have same material. There are 6 pawns for both sides and a bishop for either side and 2 rooks. And we have the famous bishop of opposite color position, which has been taught, in general it has been taught wrong, but also many chess players believe something wrong about this position. Every chess player who has not yet really practiced a lot the endgames in this bishop of opposite color has been told that every opposite bishop endgame is a draw, or if they are bishop of opposite color, it's a draw. That's not true. But no, nothing could be further from the truth, actually. There is a high tendency that the game can end in a draw if you have bishop of opposite color, but it doesn't mean the game ends as a draw. There are many games actually where you win because you have an opposite color bishop. Why? Because the bishop is the only piece that can only move in one color. If it is on a white square, it must move in the white squares. And if it's on the black squares, it must move in the black squares. So now, if you start attacking with your bishop, this bishop cannot defend the attacks of this bishop because it cannot interfere. So the main thing normally when there's opposite side bishop is you want to, opposite color bishop is to attack the opponent's king. Now, of course, this is closer to an endgame, although it is already an endgame with 2 rooks, but checkmate is still possible. But if this, imagine that all these pawns went here, this bishop would be attacking the g2 pawn, and if the rook comes in, it can be attacking the king, and this bishop is useless to defend. So hence it has been said, when you attack with the opposite color bishop, it's almost you have an extra piece, because this piece is useless to stop any plans of the other one. So I hope that helps someone. Comment your thoughts. Do you think I'm telling the truth, or you don't think I'm telling the truth? But for sure, this is something that has been said, which is not necessarily true. But you can check me, of course. Much stronger people than me have said these things. Especially one player who doesn't just say it, but shows it, is the world chess champion, Magnus Carlsen. He wins a lot of endgames where he has opposite color bishops. Now, this is already looking very difficult. I mean, it seems Porcupine could even win this game. Because Alette, although she is a queen, is really not attacking. She seems more to want to defend than to attack, which of course is a mistake. If you have more material, you should actually be the one who's trying to attack. Because if you don't try to attack, and now she finally does it, she goes for the attack, brings a queen and a rook together, and will find chances there if she can do that. All right, so the other game with Kaylee, where she's the only one who can have a chance to come for tied first place, which at least allowed us to explain this myth that everyone has believed of the opposite color bishop. Yeah, it looks an interesting game. And both players are managing their time, so this one will be a long game. Let's go back to the game with Porcupine 2013. It appears that actually Porcupine could be the one to checkmate his opponent. Because, well, could he though? Because if the knight moves, this rook is going to be taken. Yeah, so Porcupine realizes that and he moves back to defend his king. But yeah, now this is becoming very, very tricky. There is a bad move in the position that I fear Alette might try to play, but it could be deadly because after the queen goes there, the knight goes to d4, discovering a check against the white king, and actually the queen would be lost afterwards. So Alette needs to be very careful now. Her king is not in a good position. She didn't go for the bad move. She in fact attacks the rook on. She attacks the rook, and now she must be careful still. Any move besides this move, and she finds it, would have been losing. And now this position is spinning again. She just needs to take one piece. This rook is hanging. And if the rook goes to defend, there will be checkmating motifs. This is an interesting game. Let's see how it develops. It looks very wild because both of the kings are quite unsafe, and it's very difficult to predict how the game is going to end. So let's stick with this one until the end. Yeah, so at the moment there are two threats that white has. White is threatening to take the rook on e7 as well as the knight on d4. So Porcupine has instead defended his rook this way, but now Alet must take this knight, because if she doesn't take that knight, she is going to actually lose. There is a threat of checkmate in two moves with rook e1 check followed by rook on 7 to, or rook 7 to e2 checkmate. Sorry. All right, I'm going to quickly take a break and I'll leave this game playing until the end. All right, so let's go to our let's resume back to our main event. Basically, this is the most fascinating game of this round, the under 10 section. But it seems that the worst has been avoided. Finally, Alet managed to hold her nerve, and she seems to just be winning now. She is now threatening checkmate on the next move with rook d7 checkmate, finishing the game. And it's not clear how Porcupine 2013 can stop this. Amazing performance by Alet. It has been a very nervous. I mean, I'm just watching the game and I'm also thinking, wow, this is looking very sharp. Now she must just find rook d7. She needs to play rook d7 and she does it. And the opponent must lose both rooks to stop checkmate, and it will be all over very soon. Although her opponent has too many pawns, but it should be enough to win now, having an extra queen. In fact, if she knows how to checkmate with the king and queen, she doesn't even need to do anything special. She can simply play, indeed, she finds it, king f6, there is mate coming on g7. Excellent game by Alet Dupe. A bit sad for Mr. Porcupine, because he would have won 5 out of 5. But yeah, the opponents are also good. So that's important to remember. So in the end, he still finishes his first place. And now, to go to the only players that are able to, or the only player who's able to stop that from happening is Kaylee. But it seems Kaylee is not winning her game. She might be losing, in fact, because PSN can now just win this pawn. And now these two can confirm my claim that not all opposite color bishop endings are draw, because as you can see, they are playing with opposite color bishop, but white is completely winning. Black is completely winning, sorry. Because now this bishop is useless to defend any white square attack. So at least you can see that I'm not making these things up. I see a few people joined the live stream. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Please, once again, remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And like and share the video with with everyone that you know that is interested in chess. It helps the algorithm that YouTube can show this to as many chess fans as possible. Thank you so much for your support in that. Okay, so it appears Kaylee won't be able to stop, or at least I think even if she would have won, she could have still only been coming second, because, well, she could have been coming first because her tiebreak is very high. So she could have gone ahead, but now it appears she's losing because PSN has too many pawns and Kaylee has a very weak king. PSN has active pieces. So we'll come back to see the result of this one. But let's go to the open section and see what is going on. These guys are playing their fourth round, and it seems now it's time problems. Mr. Samuel is comfortably with a rook up, but the time pressure situation is not the greatest. But it seems Samuel is clearly winning. I mean, he just needs to play rook d2 followed by rook e2, and the game will be finished. Old Crash Road will lose this game. So let's see this one until the end because of the time situation. At any moment, the opponent can just be flagged as well. There is now even a checkmating pattern that can okay. So queen check, queen check. Now the only mistake in the board is to run and play queen rook d8, so that needs to be avoided somehow. Well, these are two players also with the history. They had played 4 games before this, and now Samuel finds the right way. He exchanges queens, and then he is clearly winning. And now this is pre-moving time. The pawn just gets pre-moved until it queens. That's the one advantage of playing online versus in person or over the board. You can pre-move online. This just means make the move before it happens. The system does it automatically. So Samuel will be winning this game by a very unusual stalemate that he can create, but this should be his first win for the tournament, which will definitely mean a lot. It's not easy to start with 3 losses, so let's see if he's able to avoid the only issue, which is to stalemate his opponent. Okay, very nice. Now there's a checkmate on the next move. Excellent, well done. So Samuel gets his first W for the tournament. And now the Seaside Sunset also was able to win his game. So he goes into the last round, is the sole leader of the tournament. And he's probably going to be playing against... He's probably going to be playing against, who is this? Eden Zero. Okay, so South African Rhino is... South African Rhino is bemoaning the mistake with B3, as I had made in the comments. I see the players are chatting there, showing respect to each other. It looked a very tricky game, a very fighting opening, so give credit to both. They didn't try to play safe, they went all out. And these are difficult moments because nerves play a big role. So we are still waiting here, and now the standings are finished in the under 10 section. So let's just see, and also congrats guys, well done to everyone who played, and well done to the top 5 players. So the top 5 players will win chess training for group coaching with the amazing Coach Francois, and they will be learning about discovering world chess champions. So these are under 10 players, and one of the things that we try to do here at Elite Chess Academy is to make sure our junior players understand the history of chess, understand the world champions. There are two reasons for this. If you understand the history of something, you take it a bit more serious, we believe, and you realize that it's been there longer than you actually might have thought. And as well, it gives them people to look up to, people who have gone before them, who have done this before, and also it will inspire them to play chess and to try to, maybe for those who are really interested, and why not try to become chess grandmasters themselves and even a world champion? Because I believe I believe in miracles. So I believe a world champion could really come out from South Africa. Why not? It has happened in the other parts of the world. So we have history to tell us it's possible for anyone from anywhere to become a world champion. No one expected Magnus Carlsen, or in general, no one expected a world chess champion to come from Norway. Because it seems like it's from Norway. Very bad, very bad joke. But it's just to supplement the point that it is possible. South Africa can have a world chess champion, but a lot has to be done to get to that level. So it starts with inspiring the young kids. If the young players can start already getting interested in chess and the history of chess, knowing the world champion, knowing the games of the world champion, they'll put more effort. As a rule, Alekain said he worked on chess 8 hours a day. But how can our junior players work on chess that much if they don't really know the history and also the benefits of chess and so forth? But I'll stop my rant. I'll continue assessing the final standings. Porcupine finishes first place with 4 points. Kaylee finishes second place with 3.5. Somehow she was able to draw the game. Unfortunately, PSN stalemated Kaylee, because it seemed like PSN was winning. So yeah, there was a stalemate in the end in the tournament. Alet Dupe, the only one to stop the Porcupine train by beating Porcupine in the last round. Porcupine had been chewing all his opponents with 4 out of 4. But Alet had to put an end to that, so Alet makes it in the top 3 as well. So these two ladies were fighting for the best female prize. So Kaylee will win the best female prize because she finished with 3.5. And yet there were many ladies in this tournament, by the way, which I'm very happy to see. We need more female chess players to play, because girls can play chess just as well as boys. It just takes commitment and interest, of course. Genya, another girl was playing. She finishes in the top 4. In fact, the ladies finished. There were 4 ladies in the top 4 of the under 10. The 2 boys here will finish outside the top 5. PSN and Vimy finishes outside the top 5. So the top 5 players win a group lesson with, again, the amazing Coach Francois, who is a head chess coach at Elite Chess Academy. And then the best female player, which will be Kaylee, will get a lesson with me, yours truly, Dion Gorodema, and we'll be having fun, of course, to assess some of those games that she played and try to help her to improve for the next time. And hence I was saying, jokingly or otherwise, that this is the best online youth tournament in the country. We do want to invest in the youth. We want them to gain a lot from these experiences. Not only do they play a tournament, but they also get an opportunity to get training that will encourage them to grow in their chess enthusiasm and commitment, and also to help them to improve their mistakes that they know of and to become better for the next time. So now we only have one tournament left to comment on, which is the open section, which is now happening. The last rounds have started. Seaside Sunset is the tournament favorite to win outright with 5 out of 5, which would be a very big score. It was a small group and very competitive, so to win with full score is something very special. And GN Brave is playing against South African Rhino. So in the championship, or in the open section, there are prize money. There's prize money to be won. First place is 250 rands, and second place 150 rands, and third place 100 rands. And the best female player will get a chess lesson with, at the moment, one of the most improved chess players by some distance. The man has managed to gain over 200 chess rating points by playing, 3 or 4 chess tournaments this year. The amazing Nico Martin. This will be the best female prize. Well, we had a female player who had joined this tournament. Unfortunately, she wasn't feeling well, but she'll still get the opportunity to do the lesson with Nico, because it's being sick is out of her control, and she was the only female who joined the open section. We'd love to have more girls to join the open section next time, but yeah, we'll try to see. That will be for next time. But anyways, let's go back to the tournament and actually look at the games. So the last round for the open section. Let's see what opening was played. C4. It turned out to be some Catalan. So black has grabbed the C pawn and is going to hold on to it and wants white to prove that this gambit works. White says, okay, fine, you can take the extra pawn. I'm going to get fast development. I'm going to bring my pieces into the game. Black will struggle to get this piece involved, to get that rook involved, and to get this knight into the game. Although at least the knight does have a weak square on b3 to go to. So that in that sense it's good. But these two pieces are going to be problems for black. So white has a strong center, which he usually pushes forward and will start an attack against the black king. So very dynamic position, and it's a good one for the last round. It will definitely go on for the next little while. Let us observe the other games that are happening. So GN Brave and South African Rhino fighting for second place. And this one is a very important game also, because both players definitely don't want to lose this game, because whoever loses here might actually come out of the top 3, which is not a good feeling. So let's see how the game started. So GN Brave sticks with his beloved E4. It's a Scandinavian opening, just normal development. Surprised that G3 was played, but okay. Yeah, the moves have been played very quickly. Both players are playing fast. The first 20 moves have been just stormed through. At the moment, everything is equal, but the game is still is not balanced. The pawn structure is not the same. There is 4 pawns on the one side versus 3, and here we have 3 versus 2. So definitely will offer dynamic chances. So this again will be a very interesting game. Let's check out the other games. So Samuel was able to win his first game of the tournament, and now he's playing against VBKO in this encounter. Let us observe. Okay, what's going on? Let's observe how the game began. E4, E5. Okay, so standard Italian game. Yeah, here there was already a big trap. If this knight had gone back to D2, let's see if you can find it. Type in the YouTube comment section, what is the right move that would have been played by black if white would have made a big mistake of playing knight on C to D2. I won't give the answer away, but if you can find the answer, type it. I'll comment on your comment. Okay, so instead, knight A3 was played, knight E7, bishop to E3, bishop takes, pawn takes, and knight to G4. Knight G4, queen to E2, knight G6, knight takes B5, and rook A1, and knight h4. So, okay, Samuel lost a pawn, but Samuel is coming for VBKO's king because he has all his knights moving there. His rook can also come there. He has a massive advantage on time, but is it enough? That is the question. Is the pawn enough for the attack on the king? Let us see. The players will explain to us with the outcome of the game. Let's look at the other games. There is Lubanzi 1-2-3 versus Vuma 1-2-3. So the 2-1-2-3s are playing against each other. Again, another bad joke. But yeah, so let's see what is going on. It looks a very drawish game because of the queen endings, even though there's an extra pawn, but the threat of perpetual check is always looming, so it will most likely be a draw. Let me just check the one more game that is happening here, which is Old Crash Road versus Chrissy 2011. Yeah, okay, so what is happening? The material is the same. And there are threats from both sides to win more material. It's still a balanced game, but okay. Old Crash Road time management, very little time, but at least maybe not in the seconds. Now he wins more pawns. So, okay, he has one material. So with that, for sure, he's the favorite to win this game. All right, I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back very quickly. All right, that was a very short break. Now I'm back again. So, yeah, in this game, Old Crash Road for sure has an advantage. He's up with an extra pawn, but his opponent has very active pieces for that pawn. The two black rooks are very active, standing on open files, and the knight and the bishop are standing in the white side of the board. So, for sure, white has an extra pawn, but the opponent has compensation with active pieces. So anything can still happen, and there are threats everywhere. The pawn is attacked. The best move must be bishop to d4 maybe, and then maybe knight d5. But for sure, white should be the favorite still to win the game. So they are not okay. There is a result. So in the okay, so Samuel lost his game against Vuma 1-3, but isn't that the previous round's game? Yeah, because I don't understand how. Yeah, because he was playing against someone else earlier on. But it seems the game is over. Or something. Yeah, something is not right. The system looks not too correct. Because Samuel is busy playing, so I was surprised that he lost the game. Yeah, but okay. Samuel is playing his game, but it seems he's losing the game. He's down a queen now. Maybe playing too fast. Who knows? So this one should be finished as VBKO should win this game. And okay, maybe no chance really for third place, but if everything works his way, he could squeeze in somehow on third place. Because this, depending on what happens in these two games, he could squeeze in. think to round in the tournament, let's go to this game. We'll focus on this game since it's the main event in terms of deciding the winner of the tournament, and also Eden Zero is definitely trying not to lose because he wants to be in the prizes, and it doesn't look very good for Seaside Sunset right now because of the fact that his opponent has 2 pass pawns on the queen side and has active pieces. But although he can argue that he's winning the knight, sort of, not really. The knight will go to b3. What is the material here? So black has a knight for 2 pawns. He has a knight and 2 pawns for a rook, and then has a bishop and a rook. So the material is equal. So if the material is equal, then black should definitely be a favorite because of the 2 pass pawns. They can definitely create problems for white. So there is a trap, of course. Now the queen is attacked and the bishop is attacked. And after the queen takes, which is forced, there is rook d6 coming. And after rook d6, the queen goes to c5. Okay, no, that's a mistake, right? Because after queen c5, doesn't that just lose the game? Queen c5, queen to c5, forcing the trade of the queens. Knight takes, rook b6. Bishop takes, rook takes. Yeah, queen c5 must be played. Now, it will probably end as a draw, or black will be winning. Black, unfortunately, can't really keep his pawns. Yeah, queen c5 is a powerful move. I don't think Seaside Sunset saw this idea of queen c5. Otherwise, rook d6 looked like a good move. But generally, this is the important advice. Just because you see an attacking move doesn't mean you need to play it. Normally, you want to see the follow-up. What will happen after I play that move? It's much more important than just finding an attacking move. Because now here, we have an endgame where so rook b6 is predicted, and now maybe bishop a6 is another move. Not the move I was saying. Bishop a6 is probably the best move to keep the 2 pawns. Because if black wants to, taking there makes it much closer to a draw. Because there is rook b5, bishop g2, king g2, knight e4. And yeah, this is more closer to draw, but also now very dangerous for black. Because black now has to play very accurately to not lose the game. The better move, let's go to analysis. The better move would have been to play, in my opinion, was that instead of playing bishop there, bishop a6 is important. Or is it really now? Because of this move, maybe it's not good. Yeah, and you can't really sacrifice the bishop. Okay, so maybe he saw rook a1. I didn't see rook a1 because pinning yourself won't work because of this threat. It looks a very strange position. You could go for this, but now there is a back rank mate, of course, so that would not work. So maybe taking there is the best move. Yeah, so maybe what he did is the best. I'm not so sure. Bishop takes, and now this is the line that I'm thinking will be the line that will be played. And now knight to c4. Can he hold on to this? Who knows? If he can get his knight to d5, he definitely holds on. That's for sure. But now after something like rook c1, the threat is to play here. And now, unfortunately, this doesn't work because after f3, okay, he has knight d2. Yeah, so he should be fine. Let's go back to the game. Let's see what has happened. For whatever reason, he decided to lose the pawn. Very, very strange. So he should have played knight e4, not rook c8. Yeah, he missed a tactic. Yeah, the back rank checkmate cost him the game. And of course, it's still not lost because he just needs to get his knight here. But that knight is running out of space quickly. Maybe he gives a check, but yeah, okay, he's even losing his knight now. Now it's lost. Well, that's an unfortunate turn of events. But this will mean that Seaside Sunset will finish the tournament with a remarkable 5 out of 5 score. Very strong performance. In second place for now, at least, it's VBKO. It can still change because GN Brave and South African Rhino can still go ahead, but with 3.5, at the very least, he should secure top 3. So let's see what is happening in South African Rhino's game. So okay, so these are the two players now. Well, I mean, it's clear that South African Rhino is winning the game, right? Because of the fact that he has so many pieces. Definitely played with a lot of energy, won a piece. And now GN Brave was trying to find some perpetual, but it's not enough. Yeah, now it's just losing. Okay, so Black is winning. There is checkmate by force. Game finished. Okay, so South African Rhino will finish in second place with 4 points. Edin Zero, the only one who has a chance to catch him, can't catch him anymore. He's down in rook, so he should be losing that game. So South African Rhino will be second place. Seaside Sunset comes first. If he wins this game at least. And all the other games are finished. There's only one more game happening, so let us see. Okay, yeah, but this is now lost. Yeah, the pawn will be taken, and now, of course, it's just the basic checkmate with a king and rook. Which should be, yeah, it's resigned. So there is it, ladies and gentlemen. The 6th edition of the Elite Chess Youth Rapid Challengers finishes with an amazing win by Seaside Sunset, 5 out of 5. South African Rhino in second place with 4 points, and VBKO with 3.5 points, coming in third place. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Good GG's, everyone. Hope to see you all play in the next one, in the next challenges. All right. So that is the tournament and the commentary. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining on YouTube and following and liking and sharing and subscribing and all that wonderful stuff. It's very much appreciated. I hope that for those who are following, you at least learned some things. And please follow up with your compliments and your complaints. They are both welcome. Yeah, we would just like to thank the players and the arbiters of the tournament, and yeah, of course, Elite Chess Academy for hosting this tournament. And yeah, thank you so much. And as I always say, before you go, I hope you don't mind me saying it. Remember, as always, keep chessing. All right. Thank you, and thanks for enduring my bad jokes during this live stream. Bye bye.